And to continue, we do have two of our neighbors and Femke who did camp with us. Lovely, lovely people. All right, so back to the nitty-gritty.
Yeah. So we once again set up the shade structure first. We were thinking that we would get the van and place it first, but again, it made more sense and ended up being better to place the shade first and place everything else according to the shade structure. One thing that we did realize this year is definitely attach to the two tall posts first and get that line pulled straight, and then do the two lower ones afterwards. And with our poles in our square configuration, we do need to keep the 3 carabiners at each end on the short poles. That just helps the shape form a little better, and it keeps it a little higher so people aren't running into it with their heads as they're walking underneath it.
And one thing I would like to do next year is raise the entire shade up about 4 inches. I'm not sure how, but you know, it was just a little bit low. My spiky hair would catch on and get caught.
We added a burn barrel this year. That worked very, very well. That size was perfect. The bricks was perfect. Bring more wood. Everyone likes a fire, and it was a big draw. And it was really nice to have that on a cold evening. So definitely do that again.
All right, let's go check out left side, I guess.
Yep. Solar lights at the end of each of the poles. These worked well. Just enough light to sort of make it so that people wouldn't trip over things. We added a slack line this year. This worked really well, except one ply of bolts is not enough to hold it, and adding a stake did not fully fix the problem. So definitely at least 2 bolts if we're going to do the slack line again. But the positioning was very nice. We do need to figure out a way to light it, though. We didn't have a good way to light it this year.
Let's see, what else? Batteries, we have to do some battery maintenance and solar maintenance. It was cloudy this year and dusty, and that did not let the batteries fully charge, which means the big house battery here died and we didn't have lights, so something to think about.
You got a new battery?
We have a new battery. Yep. Travis and Catherine did give us this battery down here, which came from their RV. It was an extra one.
Yeah, we didn't just steal the battery out of their RV.
This morning, Ellen and I were discussing whether or not it would be a good idea to put up a windshield. You could actually, I think you could attach it to those poles of the shade structure.
Yeah, definitely something that comes down on the sides. Something that's movable, but that can be dropped down if the wind is coming through. We never did get our boards put down to hold down the edge of the cloth, so we need to make that a bit easier so that we will get it done, basically, instead of just tripping over 2x4s. Although, in a pinch, that worked, and no one actually face planted, so it was okay, not bad.
The 2 stoves worked well. More propane for the big one next year.
Yep, definitely make sure you have a full tank. Having the van pulled so close in here worked great to block some of the wind and dust. And we also, you can see a couple of the blue coolers. We put these under the van. It was a good place to store the water, and it also helped keep the wind from coming underneath the van. So we had a pretty good dust storm, a couple pretty good dust storms, and it remained somewhat dust-free under here. Somewhat, I mean, obviously not totally, but that's not even possible. Let's see. Let's go show how close everything is, I guess. We placed the yurt by putting this wall such that that's your exact 8 feet right out to that pole, and out at a perpendicular angle. So that was perfect placement, I think. What do you think? Did that work well?
It was absolutely perfect. The yurt never budged. It got decent wind. We got decent wind this year. And yeah, actually this strap right here, we actually put maybe 3 feet from the yurt, and again, no worries, no issues, worked fine.
Having the swamp coolers around on these sides made it really easy to service them, so that was nice. And having the door on this side this year, so that we had a nice walkways between the living areas from here to the yurt to the trailer, to the back of the van. This worked. This worked very well. We did shorten up these straps so that rather than being 8 feet out, they're more like 4 feet out. But we put three, and then the one long one that went behind the van. That worked. Everything held together well, and I didn't find myself tripping over these. How about you guys? Did you find yourself tripping over any of these?
Yeah, me neither.
Having the hoops here kind of helped because it was visually more mass, so that it kind of reminded you that there was stuff there and to keep paying attention.
The little solar LEDs, I really like these. They really help give the camp a nice, gentle, lit feeling at night. That was a good idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Tibor.
More of those.
Spectacular.
You keep them?
Oh, as far as the cooking tables go, for next year, I'd like there to be a little more shade. Sometimes it got a little hot. It was kind of awkwardly placed. I don't know.
If you can get a little shade, then you can also keep the water cooler there.
Yeah.
Because right now you have to move it every time.
Yep.
And there, it's right in the middle of the group where you're talking. So.
That's true. It's hard to see around it.
We did sort of play around with an idea of once we had the platform on the van, running a 20-foot post basically through right in the dead center line of the van, and then replacing these 2 poles with that, so that the shade structure actually starts much closer into the van and everything is kind of contained within it. So if we can figure that out, I think that would be good, although it will cut down a bit on our area here, our seating area.
You might actually end up really close to the van and splattering your food processing stuff on the side of the van. So.
Ah, good point. So if we do that, then we'll need to make a billboard vinyl piece that will cover that part of the van, so that we have basically a backsplash.
Oh, there is?
Yep. Okay, so backsplash for next year would be good. Having the van and trailer this close worked well. Kind of lined it up so there wasn't really a slot through here for wind, so there wasn't a lot of space for wind to go through, and that worked out quite well. We put the solar shower around the back of the van. That was a bit windy. That setup, it was doable, but we definitely need a better shower for this year. This was better than last year, but not better enough.
Some kind of wind shelter when you're showering would be nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
My penis got significantly smaller.
Definitely. The dolly cart, really, we never used it, so that's not necessary to bring back.
Oh, putting a rag or a towel in the water really enabled wicking and self-evaporating, so we don't have to worry about dealing with that later.
Yeah, that did work well.
Need jacks to the trailer.
Think it worked well?
Well, it worked better than not having
I don't see that much difference. But look at where the edge of the water was. Practically nothing, right?
The first couple of days, it was better when it was sunny. It's just been so dusty.
And having the machine you talked about with a wheel, and you have a cloth on it that keeps spinning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That would make a lot of difference.
Yeah. Oh, stabilizing the trailer. We need to do more to stabilize the trailer next year. Just having this under one corner, the trailer felt like you were moving around whenever you're in it. So definitely, just bring the jack stands.
Yeah.
Solar panels over here, we did just like last year. Again, it worked perfectly, although getting them up higher so they don't get so dusty would be good. double vent system. We did that from the beginning this year, and even though it's our
He's in timeout.
timeout here.
Yeah.
Even though this was on the windy side, and we did get quite a bit of dust, the double filter system did keep it very dust-free in the air. Pretty much the dust that's in there is what we tracked in on our feet.
Yeah.
Did you notice you were the one that was sleeping right
No,
under
it
that
worked
vent?
perfectly. I think the ventilation did slow down over the course of the week because it got clogged with dust. So at the beginning of the week there was a lot more airflow. That's all. It makes no difference at all.
So definitely we need to do a better way to switch them out so that we'll switch them out more frequently so it's not quite so dusty. Although I whacked it this morning. I kind of did this and a whole bunch of dust came off. So maybe we could just
I think that's all it needs. You only got
Hit
a
it.
problem if you get rain and it starts concreting.
drying line. This drying line worked really well. Let's see, what else about outside?
Putting Femke's car back here was nice and easy. Wasn't in the way at all. Never got touched. Nice and safe. Oop, someone's losing a bag. Yeah, with this wind, you get a lot of moop. I think we have most of other people's camps in our trash bags.
Alrighty, so let's see. Anything else for outside?
We did not get a lot of resonance from the straps, giving a little twist and a little tighten and throwing some just old socks around the mainly wind side. Kept the pitter patter down.
The zippers are starting to get a bit sticky now in their second year, so we definitely need to do some rinsing and maybe some wax treatment to the zippers, the yurt zippers. All right, is that it? Or trailer?
Oh, sure.
How about the wastewater buckets? You think that was enough? I think we need more rainwater buckets.
I have a very, 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 very strong suspicion next year there will be a gray water tank under the trailer.
Yes.
They're so cheap and so
Yes,
easy to
you said
install.
that. Yeah.
But you're right.
That problem would be solved, and it's also because you're with 4 persons now, and you know, if you're with 4 persons or more again next year, then because these are all the buckets you have, right? Plus the one under the sink.
I think there's one in here. There's one more in there. There's a couple floating around.
Okay, so we ended up with like six 5-gallon buckets full of gray water. Maybe 7 by the time it's all said and done. That's not too bad.
But we're really conservative with water.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It would be nice to be able to be slightly less conservative with the water. So if we could work on that, that would be good.
Maybe a thing to add would be that when we were draining the coolers of the ice water, we did get a lot of splashes here as well, with mud on Femke's feet as a result.
Yeah.
So maybe you could have sort of like a, similar to the bathtub there, a container to catch dripping water when you're draining the coolers.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, I think we should keep the kiddie pool even if we're not going to use it for the shower, and use
stuff
it for
like
that.
that.
Yeah, to do stuff like that. That's a perfect idea.
I like that.
Yes, exactly. All right. So Walmart in here is what our neighbors ended up calling it. All the racks and stuff. The racks worked well. Same sort of problems that we had with the racks last year was having such a tight distance between the shelf above and the shelf below, so you had to pull stuff out instead of just being able to reach in.
And it was kind of hard to find stuff.
Yeah, definitely labeling of bins absolutely needs to happen. And pushing everything back to the wall and getting it attached would make a lot more room in here. It definitely helped lifting the coolers up.
That was a good idea.
It was surprisingly cooler in the trailer than it was in the van, which is the exact opposite of what we thought, but ended up being definitely true. So even without swamp coolers, it was never really all that hot in here. It was actually less hot here in the trailer than it was in the yurt or the van. So yeah, so just one swamp cooler really is all we're ever going to need in here, I would say.
And absolutely insulate the ceiling. This is the where all the heat's entering in here. So if we can just throw some 3/4 inch or 1 inch insulation ceiling and just slap some Luan on top of it, it would do a world of good.
Yep. This one light strip lit up the van fantastically. A little bit of spot working lights would be good, like a spotlight right above the sink, or if you're working at the sink would be nice. But the one big strip light, it was definitely sufficient. Definitely sufficient.
Femke and I were saying, like, it would be really nice if you can, because you got a lot of spare room here anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you still want to stack some wood in the silk structure underneath it next year, to hang up normal kitchen cabinets for plates and cups and cutlery and stuff like that. Because I think you have plenty of room, and it would improve a lot if you've got a little bit of workspace here and just stuff to put away your cups after you rinse them, and because now it's everywhere.
Right, right. Definitely. Yeah, that would be perfect. Maybe we can go by Habitat and get a set of kitchen cabinets and make like 3 feet of kitchen would be perfect here, right? Just 3 feet, or even if we could 4 feet of the sink and some more counter space. This, we didn't have this table here at first, and the sink got incredibly crowded. Even after adding the table, we still could have used a little bit more room, but this is definitely necessary. Twice as much would be better.
You want the garbage separation system?
Yes, good recycling system would be good. Multiple bins. Again, labeled, because particularly with the trailer being less personal space than the yurt was, we did have quite a few people coming in and out and, throwing trash away, and some labeling would go a long ways of where stuff is and where stuff needs to be.
I think not cooking in here is a good idea. Just using the kitchen for dishwashes and storing, brushing your teeth.
Yep, and definitely cooking outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, cooking in here.
And everything gets fatty.
Yeah. We cooked a lot this year. Tibor cooked a lot this year.
Thank you, Tibor.
Most cooking was done by Tibor because he did such a good job. So don't be afraid of real food. Real food works. Let's see. Clothes, once again, we need a better folded clothes solution. We said that last year. It's still true. Fix it this time. Stacking the coolers worked. Surprisingly, it was not too high. We brought this little step stool for, the short member of the camp, but I didn't end up really needing it, so it was okay. This worked out just fine. Let's see, what else in here? This light gives way more, or the roof vent gives way more light than we were expecting. That's good to know, and perhaps we'll consider popping another 2 of those in there, because it really worked very well. And I think for days like coming out here for 4th of July, other things where there aren't as many cars kicking up dust, we would actually be able to open those up and get some airflow in here, which would be nice. The clock was good, but make sure not to forget your watch next year, dummy. Me.
You think you need more of the long fly screws, or do you have more?
We have
Oh, there's another box of
another
them.
box that's got 6 more in it.
Yeah. At least. All right, I'm gonna pause the video and start a new one. So a small